Building video. I don't know what to say here, but it feels weird to just jump immediately into pushing buttons, so I always try to say something. Anyway, block I'm using. Cinnabar, one of the newer blocks in the game. Okay. It's kind of like a pale red, almost like a slightly old ground beef kind of look, with the little like off-color splotches in it. Don't know what I'm gonna do with that. Prompt is building. I could make a butcher's shop, I guess. That could be a cool use for it. Did literally about 2 seconds ago just mention that it looks kind of like ground beef that's a bit old, so that could be nice. And oh, love the fancy new sizes I recently added, the 2x2 macaroni. Alright, how do I want to orient this? Alright, now I've got my 2x2 macaroni. I have to build a building. So it could end up being like a little corner store sort of thing. I could even play into how it looks like I've just got a bunch of roads running through all around the place, and like build the buildings as if these were actual roads in a city. That could be fun. As usual, I'm being drawn towards the spruce wood set, but partially because I'm already using it on the roads, and partially because I want to practice building differently than usual, and I tend to use spruce a lot. I am trying to avoid that. So, I have to think about what else I can do. Oakwood feels like a cop-out, but I might still use it. Yeah. Alright, let's see what I can do about this. Well, before I do any actual building, I really should be plotting out a lore plan. So, let's just take, like, clay, I guess, and think about how I want to do this. I could put a, like, counter here, just to separate a, like, customer area from a staff area. I do kind of like the idea of having just, like, going with the city plan idea and having a little public hangout space here. It is a little weird to have that directly next to the butcher, but I don't know, maybe you buy a hot dog, just come out and sit on a bench, chat with your buddies. Alright, I think I might have a decent floor plan here. So, my idea is, like, customers come around in here, they can, like, peruse the more open shelves of, like, dried meat or something. They can come to these counters to get different selections of, like, cold meats or fresh meats or something. And then they can come over to this section to get, like, spices and stuff to help make the meat taste good. And then if you're an employee, you could come through this side and just, like, do your employee things. And then this could be a staircase down to a underground cellar sort of area for, like, you know, meat things. I might put a little cutting station somewhere. That could be nice, but overall, I think this is a decent general layout, so I guess I'll get going. First pass of a little outer foundation. Don't know how this is going to turn out, but it's fine so far. I'm mostly worried about this inside corner here, because from the outside it'll just not have this visible at all, so I might have to change that a bit. Maybe, like, pull it out here. But then it's not in line with anything, and it's kind of awkward, so I'll have to think about what I'm gonna do here. I might just do this and accept that it's awkward. Something I could do to make this a little less, like, boring and blocky is I could, instead of using stone bricks here, I could use stone brick walls, and that adds a little depth. Could be a little tough to work with in places, because walls don't tend to play super nice when you're trying to put something right up against them. But I'll try it out and see how it goes. Of course, for these corners here, that's not going to work, so I'll just put those in. After a quick second pass of structure, by you making walls and just kind of building those up, it is starting to look more like a building. But I don't know what I'm going to do for the roof, like, at all. So, that might be a bit tough. I'm going to ignore that, though, and start working on the inside, because I want to. Got some counters in place, but I still don't know what I'm doing for the flooring. Oh. I also split off the, like, spices section a little bit. Put in a doorway, put in another support beam here. It looked weird when I just did this, just a little too flat for me. So I popped on some spruce shelves to, like, beef it up a little. I don't know if I'm gonna leave them like this, or if I'm gonna put a torch in the middle of the post there to, like, make them flat. Actually, I can just try that right now. Hold on. What do I think of that? I think I'm gonna prefer this a bit more, just because it looks cleaner to me. So I'm gonna copy that over here. There we go. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with that. Now, flooring. Maybe some sort of birch and sandstone combo? If I do something like this. That could be nice. Yeah, I think I do like this flooring. Don't really know how much it captures the vibe of a butcher's house or a butcher shop, but I also don't know anything else about a butcher shop. I'm just kind of making everything up as I go along. So I think it fits in. At the moment, it's definitely giving the vibes of a typical Minecraft fortress with the stone bricks and the oak logs. So I'm definitely going to need to try to fix that with the roof. But I'm still putting that off because I still have no idea what I'm going to do. I was thinking this floor pattern could get a bit repetitive if I continue it into the staff areas too, and I figure it's not as fitting if you're going to be handling raw and, like, bloody meat. So I was thinking of swapping over to, like, something more gray. Yeah, sure, why not? Although, if all this stuff is gonna be just, like, standard meat selling space, this kind of grayer flooring would only really make sense where meat is being handled super seriously, like the cutting area and the cellar, I guess, and areas leading up to the cellar. Alright, updated idea. This still stays a staircase down to the cellar, but over around here could be, like, where you custom order specific cuts of meat, and they just, like, bring up the meat from the cellar, cut it here, and hand it over. Could be a bit awkward with the doorway to the spice section being right here, but I'm sure that's fine. I'm sure that's not a health and safety hazard. Okay, I got a floor pattern for this little section narrowed down. Don't really know what I'm doing to, like, transition it over to this area, though. Something I did think about was, like, having a pillar here and then putting a counter or something along here. But that... I don't really know about that. Maybe. Maybe that has potential, and I just wasn't thinking about it. Right. Because I could put the... Yeah, I could put the counter along there, and then put, like, some trapdoors there to imitate the little flappy up and down thing. And then this could just be, like, a little mini shelf thing that can hold stuff. I still need to think of another flooring pattern. I could use like a blast furnace. I could use a lodestone. If I use the lodestone, it could probably pair well with smooth stone. Alright, I think I might have figured out a little flooring pattern I can use back here. Also, lodestones make weird noises when you place them. Like, listen to this. I don't know if you can actually hear that based on, like, my audio settings on my recording. But they make a weird noise. Okay. I think I'm liking where this is going. You know, I wonder how long this recording is going to end up being. How much of it I'm going to cut out, because it's just me silently placing blocks and wondering if it's good. I'm thinking this area needs some shelving back here to hold a bunch of spices and stuff, or something. So if I just do something like this, maybe? No. Something like this. Excuse me, sir, I do not believe you're employed here. Construction is dangerous. Anyway, I could put some shelves back here to show off some of the meats on sale. Although I might want to make them a different color than, like, the ones imitating structural elements. So let's go with, like, oak. Yeah, sure. Oh wait, this section was for spices, not meats. What kind of looks like a spice? We got some, like, dry rub. We got some pepper. We got some salt. I don't know, man, that one could just be glowstone dust. If you really want a glowing steak, who am I to stop you? And I would probably power these, but I don't know how that would end up looking, since this is 5 wide, and that could be a bit awkward with the actual, like, mechanics of shelf connections. So I might leave them like this. Now, for this area, I need to put meat on the table. What can I do to make stuff that looks like meat sitting on a table? Oh. Salt and pepper shakers. I could even throw one in for, like, other seasonings. Nice. Now, back to my previous problem. How well does a mangrove boat pass as really big meat? Really poorly. If I take this, a stripped jungle log, or I think mangrove logs are actually used more often for big meat, and then if I just try to imitate a big old bone sticking out of it with something. I also had the end rods in mind, since they're, like, you know, white and rods. Lightning rods have a really good shape for what I'm looking for, but their color, I would be concerned if bone was that color sticking out of my meat. I probably wouldn't want to eat that. I also grabbed the skeleton skull. really know if that's what I'm looking for, especially when the skull part is so visible. But I could try something like this. Big ol' meat skewer sort of thing. So if I just do a couple of these, pop them down there. As for a more regular ground beef package, or like deli ham, grain coral fans could be nice if I was able to keep them hydrated. Pink petals? I can't put them on planks. Alright, this is a little more clearly some meat. You might have to use your imagination a little for this one, just like packets of pre-sliced deli ham. It's a bit of a stretch, I know, but there's not really many good ways to represent pre-sliced packages of deli ham in Minecraft, so thank you for bearing with me. Now I'm just gonna add some, like, shelving and counters all around the back end here. Maybe, like, over here, there can be some big display of the best meats on stock right now. There's the real gourmet stuff that the owner of this place is super proud of. And this area definitely needs some cutting space. And I can throw in heavy-weighted pressure plates as cutting boards. Really wishing I had that armor stand thing that lets you like pose them and mess with them in all sorts of ways, because then I could add all sorts of little decorations to these shelves. I feel like that's a major thing Minecraft has going against it right now, is that like it's extremely difficult to decorate with little details like that. What am I gonna do? I don't make the game. Unfortunately, I do still need to put a roof on this thing. And I do still have no idea what I'm gonna do there. So I'm gonna keep ignoring it and start building a cellar. I wanted to make these stairs really shallow because I figured if you are gonna be moving heavy meat up and down these things, you wouldn't want them very steep, because that would be a safety hazard and stuff. Can definitely swap to spruce down here. Spruce wood, I mean. Because that just kind of implies it's getting darker and stuff. Although that might be a bit dark. Maybe stripped spruce is more the way to go. But continuing off my building complaining from earlier, I wish Minecraft had more ways to build on a smaller scale. Because, like, you can use full blocks and it'd be just dandy and fine on larger scale builds. But when you're working on a smaller scale, that's not really as much of an option. Because, like, for example, my lizard all the way over here. This is a pretty big lizard, so I was able to, like, mess around with blocks and find out that, oh, wither skeleton skulls make for decent eyes when I'm building this big. But if I'm building on a player scale like this, it's hard to add those little details. It's hard to add stuff that small when that would be smaller than a block. So I just wish there was a way to add details within a block like that easier. I don't know if that's like a unique opinion that I'm bringing to the table, or if that's been stated about 2 million times by various building-focused YouTubers already, but it's the thing that I've noticed myself, and I figured I'd say it to get my opinion out there. Anyway, I'm just adding, like, more countertop space and stuff. I was gonna put up, like, some curing racks for meat by using chains and the cinnabar and stuff for different types of meat. So I'll probably cut to when some of that stuff is done. You know, thought I was being clever with these little countertops here, because all of this is built on slabs. So I put stairs here to get the little supports, and I thought, oh, this is cute. This looks really nice. But then I realized this is going to be a real pain to light up, even just to like basic levels, because I can't put lanterns on there. So either I need to get creative, or I just need to lower this all down to regular block level. I'll see what I can do for creativity first, but just know that if you see everything suddenly shift down a bit, that's why. Man, I'm feeling good about this build, which on the one hand is a good thing, since, you know, feeling good about a build feels good, and it means you're probably on a decent track to make a decent build. But on the other hand, it means I'm gonna have a lot of footage to edit, because I just keep, like, working to make this stuff look good. Because I know that I can have ideas to add little details and make it look good. So, on the one hand, yippee, cool build. On the other hand, oh boy, this is gonna be a pain when I have to actually edit the video. Alright, now I've got some meats hanging on the meat rack. Might add some more meat rack. And like some juice and stuff on the ground to really sell the meat. Alright, check it out. Meat juice. I'm gonna see about what I can do, adding detail to these. Again, they're not super functional, but I'll try. Alright, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to decorate these much. I'm probably just gonna, like, replace some of them with different woods to kind of imply that they're more stained, I guess. Maybe a little worn down. Maybe not crimson. Crimson's a bit iffy. But there's not a lot I can do with these. Alright, I thought of something a little fun I could do for the lighting. I'm using soul lanterns to get that more, like, dark look, dark and dingy look. Eventually this is going to be all have a ceiling, so you're not going to get skylight from here. But to attach them to the ceiling, I'm using hoppers, because they kind of like come to that point and they blend in with the rest of the ceiling tiles. So I think that's kind of neat. Of course, because most of this is like ground that I can't. You know, I'm just realizing that I don't need to worry about what's up there at all, so I can just put these wherever I want. Hold on. Yeah, for some reason I had the idea in my head that I needed to avoid anything with this, because otherwise I would mess up the flooring upstairs, but no, I'm covering it up anyway, it doesn't matter. So, yep, I think this is a pretty decent cellar. Maybe it could use a little more meat juice around the ground, but I think I'm willing to leave this for now. And I need to work on the ceiling. I don't want to make the ceiling too tall, so I want it to be fairly flat. But also this building's a weird shape, and I only know how to do like one roof style. Let's start making stuff up, I guess. Man, roofs are hard. Yeah, I really don't know what I'm doing here, do I? Okay, this big section is really annoying because of these tiny little rounded corners I added on. So, I'm gonna work on this now, because I don't want to work. Alright, I think I came up with something for this section of the build. and it's called Put a Giant Slab Over It. There's probably something I can do to make it look slightly better, at least, but I've been recording for a while, and it's kind of late, and I kind of want to go to bed, so I'm not doing very much thinking right now. As for this section, man, I don't know why I find roofs of buildings so hard to build, but I do, and it's annoying. So, how's your day going? Can you tell that this is taking a while based on the fact that I've run out of conversation topics to, like, randomly talk about? Alright. The bulk of the roof should be done, I think. Main problem I'm having now is just, like, these random blocks that hate me. But I think I'm just gonna do the equivalent of throw a rug over it and call it a day. Because I am starting to run out of both steam and ideas. So, we can say that this butcher shop has had to make some repairs in the past. I could probably express that a little more throughout the roof here, but again, I'm starting to get lazy, so I don't think I will. Alright. I think I'm almost done with my butcher shop here. I just need to add some lighting. And I think that is this one just about done. I definitely know that some of this could use some work, like the lighting. I just kind of spammed lanterns around. And the roof, it's very flat and very bland. And I never got around to that little meet-up mini park space. But what I did get done, I do quite like. Layout here is nice. I feel like butcher shop would be probably in your first 5 guesses of what this place is. Which, hey, that's not terrible. I forgot to put a door here. But I don't think this is too bad of a build. You can tell me what you think of it in the comments. Blah blah blah. Shilling stuff. I don't want to do that. Video done. I don't want to yap too much. Have a good day. Think of some fun, like, within the block decorations that you would use, and have fun doing some redstone.